friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. It is time for my spring favorites video for 2021. I've been doing this series for I think this is my third time doing it. I started doing spring favorites and fall favorites, and now I do all the seasons, but I really look forward to doing spring. I feel like this is really where I start to, I don't know, get really excited about playing with different colors again. Not that I'm not excited. I'm definitely the kind of person that plays with any color year round, but something about entering spring and fall are two very specific vibes that I feel, and I really enjoy talking about makeup that really inspires me for springtime. The video this year is going to have a little bit of a twist. I feel like my past couple spring favorites videos always heavily include pastels, and I feel like I'll always enjoy pastels for spring, but this year I'm not talking about any of those pastel rainbow palettes that I usually talk about. If you need to see them in action, I have a ton of tutorials. I have a Battle of the Pastel Palettes video on my channel. I've done lots of videos with pastels, but this season, even though I'm still into pastels, it's not my favorite right now. I don't really want to play with just a pastel rainbow palette. I want to play with greens, and not even pastel greens. I want to play with richer greens, not dark, just richer greens, peaches always. I'm really into hot pink right now, but not neon pink, but just a vibrant hot pink. I feel like what I'm into are still bright colors that are very vibrant, not so much pastel, but not quite neon and summery either. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I'm also kind of into earthy tones, just things that are a little bit more toned down, sage greens, kind of like those mauve tones, things like that. I have a little bit different of a vibe than my past spring favorites videos. I feel like before it was specifically pastels, and that was it. A little bit different this time. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I figured if I didn't, a lot of you would be confused why I'm not mentioning pastel palettes, and it's just because it's not really what I'm as drawn to right this second. Before we hop into my spring favorites, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my IGTV by the time this video goes up, and then just my details. This necklace is from Ana Luisa. I don't know if you'll see them today in this video, but my plugs are Love Kills Boutique and my earrings are Spooky Doodle Club on Etsy. This is a Christma brand wig. Check my FAQ in the description box if you need spelling, and this is a Neff brand beanie. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and chat about my spring favorites. I'll of course have everything in the description box if you need to see everything written out and links and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's just hop in. I'm very excited. Alright, so we're just gonna go in the order that I do my face. Once we get into the spring and summer seasons, that's when I really have specific complexion favorites like foundation and stuff like that I don't usually have in the fall and winter, just because during those times I don't really care, but I definitely have a vibe for spring and summer. I do have a primer to talk about. This is the Glossier Future Dew. I love this year round, honestly. It's one of my favorite primers of all time, but specifically in spring and summer, just putting this on bare skin on days that I don't feel like wearing makeup, it makes you just look so glowy and beautiful. I love wearing this under foundation. I know some people use this as kind of an illuminating, highlighty kind of thing and dabbing it on top of your foundation. I personally don't use it for that, but it is a beautiful, lovely, glowy primer. Definitely one of my favorites. And now for foundation, I actually have 3 to talk about. We'll talk about this one. This one's kind of more of an honorable mention because it's getting discontinued, but it's the Becca Aqua Luminous Foundation in the shade Porcelain. I've been using it a lot this last month because I've just been getting into these specific foundations, but I'm also trying to use it up. I'm getting pretty close. I'm this far away from being done with it, so I did want to shout this one out. I know it's getting discontinued, but maybe you have it in your collection already, and this will give you an excuse to bust it out and try it again. It's nice, light coverage, very liquidy and blendy. I love a good light coverage in the spring and summer, or even just no foundation. I skip foundation a lot this time of year just because I don't feel like I need it. I live in Florida. It gets very humid. It's not horrible yet, but it's coming. I know it's coming soon. Next, I have the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer. Mine is in the shade Fair 3W. Normally I would have picked one with an N, but I think when I first bought this a little over a year ago, they only had this one in stock. So normally I would pick an N, but the W works fine enough. It's super sheer, there's barely any coverage, and I love that. It blends so nicely. It's very watery feeling. It's so just hydrating. Super lightweight, very comfortable, and nice to just add a little bit of something to your skin without it being too much. This is beautiful. And next is one I discovered just a couple months ago. This is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. Mine is in the shade Fair 20, and I love this. It's more of a light to medium coverage. You can kind of build it up to medium. I personally just squirt a little amount, so it's a little bit lighter of coverage because that's my preference. It's kind of glowy, but not overly dewy, but it does have a nice kind of natural glowy finish. I have normal to dry skin, just in case you needed to know. I feel like leaning more on the normal side. I'm not as dry as I used to be, but yeah, I really like this. This is the one I'll grab if I want slightly more coverage than like the Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer, but still want something very like glowy and lightweight. All right, skipping concealer and setting powders because that doesn't really change season to season for me, but I do have some like cream blushes to talk about, and then we'll get into blush and highlight and bronzer. Actually, I have a bronzer palette as well. My two cream blushes that I have a feeling I'm going to be loving this spring are the Glossier Beam Cloud Paint. It's what I'm wearing right now. I think it's so beautiful. It's so cute. And then also the Turks and Caicos Elf Putty Blush. I will swatch these for you so you can see them. I live for a peachy blush. It's my favorite color ever for blush, but especially during the spring. My goodness, do I love a peachy blush. It's so pretty. The cloud paints blend like butter. They're so easy to work with. And Turks and Caicos is also just a really pretty kind of peachy shade, and I love these putty blushes. They're, again, super comfortable, very easy to blend out. I feel like they're not as glowy looking as the Glossier ones, but still very creamy, very blendable, very easy to work with. I love the way they apply. So cute. Look at these colors. I feel like they look identical from far away, but they're different enough. And they're a different formula, so I can justify it. Moving on, I have a bronzer palette to share with you. This is the Pixi Sheer Sunshine Summer Glow Palette. That is a tongue twister. Try saying that 5 times fast. But it looks like this. It's kind of a mix of different bronzers. We have a couple highlighty shades. Not everything works for my skin tone. I mean, it has 9 shades in here. It would be crazy if it did work for my skin tone completely, but I can kind of use this one, and this one. This one's a little too red for me. It doesn't really work with my undertone. And then as far as highlights, I can kind of use this one and kind of use this one. So these 3 right here don't really get a ton of use. Today I have these 2 down here mixed for my bronzer. It's very pretty. I love the warmth in these. They're a little bit warmer than I feel like I would go in the fall and winter, but I like the warmth in the spring and summer. It's not too orangey. They're still very bronzy looking, and they don't look horrible on my pale skin in my opinion. They're very creamy and easy to blend out. They're not super powdery or overly pigmented. I feel like they're very easy to control. I really like this bronzer palette. I got sent it last summer, and I'm excited about busting it out again because it's a very nice, just well-rounded palette. And I like being able to kind of customize my bronzer shade because I don't own a lot of bronzers. I think I only have 2 individual powder bronzers and then that for powder bronzer. So this is really cool because I can kind of mix and match and dip my brush into different shades and kind of create a new unique shade every time I use it. Okay, moving on to blush. I tried to narrow it down and I didn't do a very good job, but you guys know how much I love blush. And again, I love peachy blushes, so I have a lot to share. Let me first go over the 2 blush palettes and then we'll go over the individual blushes. First and foremost, I had to mention the Likely Makeup Fairy Blush palette again because it's so good. For one, I love this Sunstone shade in here so much. It is a beautiful shade. I even like the pink for blush. The other 2 I don't personally use for blush because I'm not one to rock a purple or green blush on my skin, but they do make really cute eyeshadows, and I've done a video, at least one video, where I played with them as eyeshadows on camera. But they're very pretty, very easy to blend out, and I like the fact that I can kind of use this as an all-in-one blush and eyeshadow palette. If I were doing any traveling, which I'm not because pandemic, but if I were traveling this spring, I would definitely be bringing that with me because it's very versatile. And the last palette for blush is the Aether Beauty Crystal Charged Cheek Palette in the shade Amber. I'm in love with this. I got sent it like a month or 2 ago, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I think it's beautiful. As soon as I dipped my brush into it and applied it to my skin, I just knew this was going to be a favorite for the spring. It's so lovely. Something about this blush formula is magical. They're so soft and glowy looking, but they're not glittery. They're not like luminizing, but they just look very lit from within, very fairy-like. They can be built up to be fairly pigmented, or you can wear them a little more sheer. It's honestly one of my favorite blush formulas I've ever tried in my whole life. They are such beautiful shades. I'm obsessed with them. And the highlight in here is actually really nice too. I didn't think I would love it as much because I feel like the likelihood of you liking everything in a face palette is very slim, but they did a really good job with this one. I think they make a few different shades of this palette. I'm honestly interested in maybe picking one up at some point, but I'm definitely not in need for one. But yeah, I'm very excited about this little Aether Beauty palette. I think it's wonderful and I'm gonna be loving it this season. Moving on, I narrowed down my individual blushes to just 5. I probably could have narrowed it down more, but I couldn't help myself. First is the Natasha Denona Bloom Highlighting Blush. I topped just a little bit of it kind of right here on my cheeks, but most of my blush on my face is from the Glossier Cloud Paint. I love this. This was actually a subscriber gift, I think last summer. And I'm so forever grateful for it because it's so beautiful. It's very like bright pink, but also peachy, and it's so glowy. This is a very highlighty blush. So if you're not into highlighty blushes, you would hate this, but I am in love with it. It's so beautiful. Speaking of highlighty blushes, the next one I want to talk about is my Melt Cosmetics Genesis Highlight. This is advertised as a highlight, but I bought it with the sole intention of using it as a blush a couple years ago. Maybe only a year and a half ago. I don't know how long I've had it. But it is, again, just a very highlighty, glowy, peachy gold. So beautiful. Like, look at that. Look at that. These also look very similar, don't they? But they're not exactly the same. Slightly different undertones. But I love using this as blush. I think it's so beautiful and it blends like a dream on the cheeks. Next, I have one from Odin's Eye. This is Ripe Papaya. This is the one that I decided is going to be my favorite blush for spring from them this year. You guys know how much I love Odin's Eye's blushes. They're fantastic. I think last spring my favorite was Apricot Girl, and I still love that one. But something about this one, it's just a little bit brighter, a little bit punchier, but still in that peachy realm. I love this blush. I love their blushes with my whole heart. You can use my affiliate code BEAUTBEAN to save 10% on Odin's Eye's site. I will make a commission if you use it, just so you're aware, and I appreciate it, but no pressure. And the last two are from Colourpop. This one is called Foxy. It was from the Big Poppy collection. This one's a little bit more muted compared to all the other ones that I've mentioned so far. This one's kind of like a neutral orangey blush. I do like an orangey blush. I'm not a big orange eyeshadow person, but when it comes to blush, I'm really down with it. I like the way it looks on my skin tone, on my cheeks. I think it looks really pretty and fresh. And this one is just super, super cute. It's not like bright orange, it's a little bit more toned down, and I think it's quite lovely. And on the days that I don't want something quite as bright and poppy as this might be the one that I grab. And the last one is from the Animal Crossing collection. This one is called Flower Tender. Bright, poppy, pinky, peachy-ish. It's so beautiful. I love this one. It has a little bit of a glow to it, which I am a fan of course. This one is a little bit more sheer than the other blushes that I'm showing right now, so this will be nice if I just want more of a light wash, but just still want a little bit of pop, you know? So yeah, these are my picks for my blush for spring this year. Let me wipe this off and then we'll move on to highlight. I guess kind of transitioning into highlight, I wanted to quickly shout out the Soul Body Golden Pearl Shimmering Dry Oil. It's what's on my shoulders today. I don't know how well you can see it because I'm a ghost, but it's a really pretty dry oil. It has kind of like golden white reflex in it. It's super, super pretty. They have a million shades of this stuff. It does leave you feeling slightly sticky depending on how much you use, but it is super pretty and reflective in the sun, on your body. Not that I'm even in the sun, in your house, on your body. I think this is really fun, and it's something I definitely... Did Weed Whacker Man really need to start right now? He's already been by twice today. What is happening? I can't wait to move. Well, I apologize if you hear him in the background, but needless to say, it's not something I really use in the fall and winter, but I'm excited about busting this out again for the spring and summer. Okay, now moving on to highlight. I have one highlight palette and again 5 individual highlights because I couldn't narrow it down more than that. For highlight palette, I'm giving it to the Odin's Eye Soul Moon palette. It's what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. I love this palette, and I feel like specifically for the warmer months, these warm toned highlights are really going to come in handy, and there's a pop of a cool toned one if you needed it. So this one's really cool. I have kind of a mix of these two on my cheeks today, and it's just so pretty. I don't have a word for it. Let me swatch these out. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so here we have them, the first, second, third, and fourth. I know that the swatches aren't gonna translate great on camera because I'm a ghost, but just trust me when I say these are absolutely stunning, and I'm super excited to be busting into this more because I love it. All right, let's go over the individuals now. Let me grab them. First off, I want to shout out the Aether Beauty Supernova Crush Diamond Highlight. I love this. It's so pretty. Again, I fell in love with this when they sent it to me along with that blush palette. It's so wet looking and stunning. I cannot get enough. It just looks like wet, glowy cheeks. It's not very much a color. It's just wet, and I'm in love with it. I can't get enough. So yeah, I'm gonna be loving that one when I just want to look like my cheeks are drenched in water. I don't even know. Next up from Kaleidos, it's not so much that I think I'm going to love it, but I want to use this one more, if that makes sense. So I'm throwing it in this video because I really want to use it and I think it'll really suit a lot of like springy things. This is Solar Sailor. I don't dislike this highlight by any means, but I feel like I haven't been getting enough use out of it. It is beautiful. It's kind of like a golden blue duochrome. It's very interesting and kind of weird, but I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I feel like it's very bright and punchy and a little bit unique, and it's very golden without it just looking like a typical gold highlight. There's a little bit more of a uniqueness there, and I'm excited to be busting it out. Next up, my Fenty How Many Carats Diamond Bomb. Part of the reason this is in the video is because I am trying to use it because I'm getting a lot of pan and I really want to continue getting use out of this product, but also, when would I not want just sparkly, glistening cheeks in the spring? It's absolutely stunning. This one again just looks like wet. It is so absolutely beautiful. It just looks glittery and sparkly, but it's not chunky. It is so smooth looking on the skin. Cannot get enough. I've been loving this highlight for years. Next up is one from Give Me Glow, and part of me thinks this one might be discontinued, and if it is, I'm so sorry, but maybe this shade will inspire you to pull something out of your already existing collection, or maybe you already have the shade in your collection. It's the shade Porcelain Peach. I had to throw in a peach highlight in this video. I just had to. I could not throw a peach highlight in this video. It is just so cute. I love that peachy, glowy hue. I actually haven't used this one in probably close to a year, and I'm really excited about playing with it again. Give Me Glow has some of the prettiest, most blinding highlights out there. They are so good. And finally, last but not least, is from Soul Body, one of Colourpop's sister brands. This is the shade Platinum. It's a really pretty, just kind of white gold shade. I don't really know how to explain it. Let me just swatch it so you can see for yourself. It's like a really pretty warm white gold color. These specifically smell kind of tropical, like coconuts or something. Not even coconuts, kind of like tanning lotion. It's not really a product I use. I'm never trying to tan. I'm a ghost and I'm fine with that, but that's what it smells like, just in case you needed to know. But yeah, these are gonna be my picks of highlight for the spring. I'm very excited. Just lots of warmth, peachiness, yumminess. Give me all of it. Okay, I'm gonna clean off my hand and then we will dive into eyeshadow palettes because I know you're excited to hear about them because that's always everyone's favorite part. All right, moving on to eyeshadow palettes, I narrowed it down to my top 10 that I think I'm really gonna be gravitating towards, color stories that are speaking to me, just springy vibes, things like that. So yeah, in no particular order, let's just bust through them. This is the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose. I just felt like this is really what I'm vibing with for spring. I love this rich green. I like the goldish green. I love the pinky tones. This is very spring vibes to me. It's like grungy spring and I absolutely love it. I've played with this palette so many times. I played with all of these palettes a lot of times on my channel, so just do a quick search, BEAUTBEAN, name of palette, and things will pop up, but I'm excited about diving into it again. This next one I'm thrilled to be playing with again. I'm actually doing an Instagram video with it very soon because it's been a long time since I've played with it, but this is major spring vibes for me right now. This is the Feral palette from Menagerie Cosmetics. Oh my gosh, this used to be one of my favorite palettes. It was in my top 10 for the longest time. These are such spring vibes to me. Again, those rich greens, I'm really gravitating towards that right now with the bright pink. There's a bright purple. I'm not even hating the orange in here. I think it's all very good, very rich and springy, but it's not like neon summery either. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to play with it again. I'm feeling very inspired looking at it and I just can't wait. Next up, I think this one might be the only repeat from last year, but I just had to throw it in again because I can't not. This is the Sweet Talk from Colourpop. I love peaches this time of year. I don't know what to tell you. And this pinky peachy palette is just so cute. I think it's beautiful. Very nice for like toned down, more like neutral-esque looks, but you could also be kind of poppy with the peaches and the pinks. Love this little color story. I always get excited for it when spring rolls around again, so just had to throw this one in here. This next one is discontinued and I'm so sorry. Hopefully the spring collection that this brand launches whenever it comes out will kind of give you a similar vibe. I don't know what that's gonna be as of right this moment that I'm filming this, but we'll see. But it's the Jardin Palette from Musee Beauty. It's so cute. I love this color story. Again, we have the green with the bright pink. I like the purples. It's all very good, very springy. They They did say in a caption recently on Instagram that if you missed out on this palette, then stay tuned for their spring collection because it might make you feel happier. Again, as of right this moment that I'm filming this, they haven't announced it yet, so I have no clue what it's gonna be, but I'm very, very excited to see because this palette makes me so incredibly happy. It's so stinking cute. I feel like you probably could have done this look with this palette, but I did not use this palette for this look. We will get to that palette in a moment. Next up, I had to shout out one of my Sugarpill capsule palettes, and I was torn between this one and the orange one, but I think ultimately this one gives me more spring vibes right now. Last year, the orange one gave me major spring vibes, but this one, it's so cute. It kind of has those pastel-ish tones, but also some richness with the deep purple, the brighter green. There's a nice bright pink blush in here. I really love this kind of rosy peachy shade. It's so cute. I'm just loving green, purple, bright pink, and peach. It's what I need right now. So yeah, I felt like this was super spring vibes for me, so I'm very, very excited about bringing this out again. So this next one, when I was going through my palettes and kind of deciding what to feature for this video, I opened this one up and immediately I was like, yep, that one has to be a part of it. This is the Glam Beauty Adventure palette. This is so springtime appropriate for me. I think it's so cute and exactly what I need. Again, we have those greens, we have the bright green, the tealy green, we have the minty blue, we have the nice pop of purple. I love this duochrome green so much. It's absolutely beautiful. Very springy, very Zelda-esque for me. I love this palette. I'm really excited about this brand. I'm excited to see what else they come out with in the future, hopefully soon, but I have no clue when they're launching anything again. But I'm excited to see what their next palette's gonna be. I think they sneak peeked the artwork. I think it's gonna be the Fantasy palette, and I'm very excited to see what the inside's gonna end up being. I do know that they said that the next palette won't have a pressed glitter, so if you're someone who was interested in this palette but passed on it because there was a pressed glitter, stay tuned for the new one because I'm pretty sure they said that one won't have a pressed glitter, which makes me excited. Next up, I have a couple palettes from Odin's Eye. This one is the Alva 2. I just had to include this one. This one does have some pastels in it, but I'm not picking this one because it has the pastels. I'm picking it because it has a range of like brights, more muted brights, more pastel brights, more bright brights. It has the peachy pink in here. I love the yellow. I love the different shades of green. There's just a lot of things that I'm really drawn towards right now in this palette, so I felt like it was appropriate to include it. It's bright, fun, colorful. I love this palette so much. I wish the glitters weren't in here because Odin's Eye has such a superior formula that I don't think they needed to try to put glitters in a palette, but regardless, I love this palette anyways. One more from Odin's Eye, I had to feature this mini palette. This is the Mini Forest palette. I love this and it is super springy for me. Again, there's the greens. I love the bluey shades. I love that golden color. I really like this rose goldy shade. Very cute, very Legend of Zelda for me also. I think this one's adorable and I'm gonna be excited to bust this one out again as well. Two more to go. This next one, I'm giving it to the Kaleidos Sashimi City palette. This is the one that I think I'm really gonna gravitate towards when I want to play with neutrals, which isn't too often, but once in a while I get excited. And this palette blew me away when I tried it back in like October. It has kind of like those pinky neutrals. The two duochromes in here are outstanding. You get just really nice pinky, soft, neutral looks, but can also be built up to be pretty dramatic because we have those nice chocolatey browns. It's not incredibly bright and springy compared to some of these other palettes, but it's definitely, I think, what I'm going to be gravitating towards when I want to play with something a little more neutral-esque. Love this palette so much, totally blew me away. And finally, the last palette I have to talk about, and the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today, is the Lethal Cosmetics After Dark palette. I love this one. This was actually a gift I got from a subscriber for Christmas, and I'm in love with it. Again, it kind of has those pastel-y-ish tones, but they're like kicked up a notch. They're a bit brighter, a bit poppier. We have kind of this really weird peachy shade. We have the green, we have really cool purples. I love the shimmers in here, especially this pinky peachy one. This is such a beautiful, fun palette. One of my favorite ones I've tried this year so far. I think this is fantastic and I'm gonna be so excited to be playing with this one more. So yeah, that's gonna be it for eyeshadow palettes. I do have a couple like loose and single shadows to talk about, and then a few liners, and then a couple of lip products. So let's move on to those. All right, I did end up deciding to put two of the Colourpop Super Shock shadows in this video because when I was going through my bin of Super Shocks, I just felt like these were really speaking to me as far as spring tones go. We have the shades Bloomer and Dream Lover. I'm really excited about these. Bloomer is kind of like a lavender mauve shade, and Dream Lover is kind of like a blue purple duochrome. I feel like it's kind of different than what I've been saying I've been liking for spring tones, but something about this shadow, when I saw it, it was speaking to me, it was calling my name, so I had to bust it out. All right, so we have Bloomer here, this kind of lavendery mauve shade, and then that Dream Lover. It's such a cool duochrome. It's so pretty. I don't play with Super Shocks a ton on camera, but they're very frequently my go-to when I'm doing a quick before work, one and done eyeshadow look. When I don't have time to film and do like a whole shebang, I just kind of pop one of these on my lids, blend out the edges, and call it a day. I have a feeling I'm gonna be dipping into these guys quite a lot. I'll probably even pair them together, like maybe use this as my inner corner shade or something. It's gonna be very cute, very fun, and I just had to shout these guys out. And now I have one loose shadow to talk about. This is Sugarpill's Ghosted. This is an oldie but a goodie. I've had this for probably 4 years now. It is quite old, but I love this loose shadow. It is so cute. It's kind of like a pinky white duochrome loose shadow. It can also work pretty nicely as a highlight on my ghostly skin. It's very pretty, and if you wet your brush, it's even more impactful. It's just a cute little dusting of a cute, springy, fairy-like ethereal glow, you know? Moving on, I have some liners to talk about. I have a couple water-activated liners from Glam Vice, and then a few pencils, and then we'll get into those lips. But let's talk about these water-activated liners. Just in case you've never seen me use these, what they are just like a solid liner, and then you wet your brush and then swirl it around with some water until you get a good consistency. It's kind of a trial and error figuring out what works best, and then you just apply it and then it dries back down. It's really cool. One of these I actually haven't used yet, and I want to use it soon, so that's partly why it's in this video. But we have these 3 that I'm very excited about. This one is tie-dye. It's a really bright, vibrant, but a little bit deeper of a purple. Key Lime is a bright, almost neon pastel kind of shade. It's such a cool green. And then Fairy Tale I've actually yet to use. It's a bright pink. It looks like it's a little metallic based on the way it looks in the pot, but it could be just regular. But these are the colors I'm gravitated towards. I want bright greens, rich purples, bright pinks. Very here for it, and I'm really excited to be playing with these again soon. And now I have 5 pencils to talk about. Really, I play with colored eye pencils pretty interchangeably. Like, I play with a different one pretty much every single day. But these 5 in particular are giving me my spring vibes. They're kind of like earthy, bright, pastel-y. I don't really know how to explain this color combo, but this is what I'm feeling right now. So let me just talk about these. 2 of them are from Colourpop. I'm not gonna swatch these because they pretty much look the way they look in the tube. This one's Bay Breeze. It's what's in my waterline right now. It's a bright, bright coral. It's so cute. And then Prance is a beautiful bluish periwinkle. It's so much fun. I love this kind of a shade always. It's one of my favorite colors ever. But yeah, these are 2 very exciting ones from Colourpop that I wanted to share. And these next 3 are from the NYX Epic Wear line. I love this line of pencils. They are so, so good. This first one is Chartruese Flash. It's a bright metallic Chartreuse. It is so beautiful. It's very light and bright and just one of my favorite pencils in my whole collection. I love Chartreuse so much. This next one is Frosted Lilac. It is what you would assume it is. It's a like lilac-y lavender. It's very metallic, very pearly, very, very pretty. And this last one is called Emerald Cut. It's a bright green, looks just like the tube here, and it is so cute. I'm just loving green right now. I don't know what to tell you. All right, moving on to lips. I narrowed it down to 3 liquid lipsticks, 3 glosses, and 1 regular lipstick. Let me just bust out the regular lipstick. This one's from Colourpop. It's one of the Lippie sticks, and it's called Cherry Bomb. This color is just everything that I want right now. I haven't been into super bright pink lips in a while, but lately I've been gravitating towards it. I don't know why, and this shade in particular was making my heart sing, so I thought I would include it in this video. Now let's go over my liquid lipsticks. I have 2 from Dose of Colors. This first one is called Pinky Promise. It is the brightest pink I have in my collection. It is so bright, but I feel like it's gonna go with a lot of those really cool greens and purples that I'm feeling right now. So much fun. And this one is called Strawberry Pop. I feel like I talk about this every spring or summer, but it is what it is. It's a beautiful pinky based red. It's super bright, but it's not neon. It's so cute. It's literally like a strawberry red color. It's so adorable. And I love Dose of Colors liquid lipstick formula. It's one of my favorites of all time. I've loved it for many a year now. And the last liquid lipstick is Hyacinth from Menagerie. This is such a cool purple, and I just had to include it in this video. Had to. It is such a unique color. I do not own a shade of purple like this in my collection for my lips. I was scared that it would look weird, but it's actually very cool and bold and exciting. I love this. It pairs really nice with greens and pinks. It pairs nicely with just like big wing and lashes. It'll go with a lot of things. It's a lot of fun. Don't be afraid of a bold lip. Says the person wearing a sheer gloss, but you know. And now my gloss choices, I guess we can first talk about what I'm wearing. It's from Tower 28, it's called Magic. I love a sheer gloss with little golden sparkles in it. It's one of my favorite things. There's really not a point in me swatching it, but it's that shininess you see right there. I haven't been as into like a clearish gloss until lately, and I think it's just because of the springtime. I just want to have glossy, wet looking lips right now. This next one is from Colourpop. It's the So Juicy Gloss in the shade Jawbreaker. It's a really cute pink. It's not incredibly opaque, so it's not gonna look like neon pink on your lips. It does sheer out when it's like blended out, and it has a nice plumping effect. Not overly plumping, but a little something something. Very cute. I've worn this one a few times. It gives me kind of that like popsicle lip kind of feel. And the last one, forever a favorite. This is Bloom from Sugarpill. I talked about this last spring favorites, I'm positive. It is the prettiest slippy, bluey purple, shimmery gloss. It's so pretty. I've worn this so many times. I love pairing this with blue or purple eyeshadow. It's so cute. So yeah, these are my spring lip picks. I'm gonna wear more things than this, obviously, but these are just the ones that I feel like are specifically making my heart think spring. Obviously, I'm gonna wear other glosses. Obviously, I'm gonna wear like neutrals and things like that, but I feel like neutrals are so year-round regardless. These ones specifically, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of use out of soon. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about my spring favorites. I'm really excited about my picks. I'm gonna try my best to use a lot of these and try to just get more use out of my products. I really like doing these kinds of videos because it really just kind of forces me to like go through and look through my collection again, get excited about things that I already own. As most of you know, I haven't really been buying much makeup over the last year and I've been enjoying keeping it that way. Obviously, I have the privilege of receiving some things in PR, but I do get excited about going through my own personal collection and just rediscovering things and getting re-excited again. I would love to know what you think you're going to be using a lot this spring. Are you kind of like me and not like super excited about just rainbow pastels and like want to play with other things? I want to hear what your thoughts are for spring makeup this year. Obviously, you can wear whatever you want whenever you want. I will probably rock a black smoky eye and a black lip at some point, but I do gravitate towards these tones at this time of year. If you made it to the end of this video, I would love for you to leave me an emoji relating to spring, whatever that means to you. And if you liked it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please hop over to my Instagram. It's BEAUTBEAN. Follow me there. I post every single day. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm posting most days here as well. Please make sure you're staying informed with everything that's going on in the world. There will be links in my description box that will take you to information and resources and ways in which you can help. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.